In the week that the impossible happened, Bellevue raced not once but twice, and it didn't rain. But by all accounts, it was a cracking track, and I look forward to the World Team Cup. Of course, it's not all good news for the Aces, as Swindon took all the points and beat them by 10. What about the Brummies? Well, Kent came and very nearly conquered. Perhaps should have conquered. Well, it's my opinion that it was a false result, and maybe we will see something different in the trophy final. I'm certainly looking forward to that. It's going to be a cracking meeting. And then last night we went to Kings Lynn, and all I can say about that is wow. Only in Speedway. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. We have with us in the studio our friend Matt.
Good evening.
Somebody called Joseph.
Hi.
And Webby.
Good evening.
We're trying something new today, aren't we, folks?
We are, yeah. I'm sure all of it's all of that.
Yeah, sound me.
I'll have to make an adjustment half time.
So yeah, this is our first foray into live broadcasting on Facebook. There will be a few technical issues, no doubt. We're learning as we go along, but it's all good fun. All good fun.
Oh, good fun.
So, okay, let's start with you, Matt. There's been a few matches down at Wolverhampton. Third in the league, is that right? Fourth in the league. Okay.
I did think third, but I've just checked it.
That was just wishful thinking on your part. Yeah. Okay.
Needs my charges.
So, what's been happening down at Wolves?
A couple of matches against Poole. Thumping win at Monmouth against them by 20 points. Very comfortable win against a Poole team that really struggled on the night. Only Hans Hansen came out with it.
Did they have a full team, or was there?
They had a full team,
okay.
Yes. Chris Holder winning his third ride, but 3 lasts. Bjarne Pedersen was, like Bjarne Pedersen, as you'll remember. They were unfortunate, of course. They lost Adam Ellis in his third ride with a spectacular-looking crash in his in heat number 11. Obviously he's back riding again now, so obviously good. That's good for him. But very strong performance all the way through the Wolves team. Very consistent scoring there with scores of 11, 9, 11, 7. Very strong performance at home.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask you a question about our friend Bjarne Pedersen? Because we spoke about Bjarne the last Speedway Tavern, didn't we? And about the fact that he'd replaced, it'll come into my head, Dave Watts, thank you. And, you know, it was my opinion that it was a little bit unfair on Davey Watts. And I think it was your opinion that you don't really know what you're replacing him with Bjarne Pedersen. Could this be something that comes and shoot them in the foot? Because he didn't do very well, did he?
Well, I mean, you get his first 2 rides were both last places, and he wasn't just last, he was stone last, really. Rather bizarrely, in his third ride, he was then put on the tactical ride, which didn't really make much sense, and his race pretty much ended at the first bend when he was shunted out, and he was off the inside as well and got boxed in. The other thing with Bjarne Pedersen that surprises me is that, of course, he rides regularly in the Danish League, which is a Wednesday night. Poole ride on Wednesdays.
Poole ride on Wednesdays, don't they? Yeah.
And of course, he didn't miss the return match at Wimborne Road on the Wednesday.
I think this is going to be a watch this space event.
I don't think Davey Watt will be out of work for long. I suspect there'll be a few clubs that might be looking at him, possibly. Maybe Coventry, of course, looking to strengthen, of course, their side. So that was the first match. We went down to Wimborne Road on the Wednesday. Made a good start with a 5-1 in the first heat, but after that, really, Poole did manage to edge in front, and it was nib and tuck all the way through, really going into heat number 11, only 4 points in it, but Poole were able to pull away towards the end of the meeting, and Wolves missed out on a point, 51-39. So yeah,
that sounds like quite a heavy defeat.
It sounds like a heavy defeat in comparison, but I think it was it was mainly really the last few races, heats 12 and 14, both resulted in 5-1s in heats where Wolves were probably a little bit under strength.
So at the beginning of the season, I mean, the team that was tipped to win the league really was Poole. At the moment, they're not sort of showing that sort of form, are they?
They haven't done so well away from home. I mean, they were very lucky to get a point against Leicester on Monday. I mean, Leicester were 10 points clear at one point. Although by the same token, Leicester probably haven't been as dismal as everybody expected either. So they're still obviously Bosman's still struggling. Of course, they've Dave Emsley's obviously resigned as a.
I'm starting to feel a little bit seasick now. I seem to be moving around all over the place.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to have to make a few adjustments with the camera.
Okay.
There we go.
It's only live.
As we said, this is a brand new venture for us, and it will get better, folks, as it always does. Okay. Sorry, Matt. Carry on.
So that probably put a bit of an unfair reflection on the scoreline because it was close all the way through. Wolves just didn't have the heat winners, only 3 heat winners all night, which says it all really, unfortunately. Probably the big disappointment for me was Carl Howarth only scoring 4 points. Reserve you would have expected better, especially when you got Max Clegg as well, who's not really got it going yet in the Elite League.
No.
And then finally Monday, Coventry away.
Okay.
Bit of a sobering thought actually. It was probably
this is your second match against
second visit there, of course. Probably our last visit to Brandon, which is a bit of a sobering thought. Obviously, I know there's still talk about them trying to. I'm hearing things about Brandon, which I don't know are true, so I don't know whether they should be sort of broadcast publicly. But a cracking meeting. I was on Sky on Monday. It was a superb meeting. We saw some superb racing. But Coventry just about edging it, 46-44. Wolves getting the points. The 4-2 in the final hit there. Freddie Lindgren, who was really drove well on Monday night. A bit like the old Freddie. Quite a lot of aggression. I know the Coventry fans weren't particularly pleased with some of his
which is always a bonus, isn't it?
That's it. So, but and lowering the colours of Christoph Kasperzak, who himself rode really well, 14 points, and Danny King getting 10. 24 points between those two rides. I think they only got about 4 or 5 between
Danny King scored
the first
10.
Time. Yeah, I think
good score by Danny King.
I think those two riders in the meeting in April only got about 3 or 4 points between them, which was a big difference. So yeah, I guess you'd say a slightly disappointing result because I think if you're going to be in the playoffs, you've got to be going to Coventry and picking up a win. But to get a point was the bare minimum, really. The team lineup's changed, of course. Now Carl Howarth has gone into the main body of the team, which I think weakens us. Mikkel Beck also is a heat leader who's not really got going. That weakens us as well because they're a pair.
Who goes down into reserve?
Sam Masters.
So that perhaps doesn't weaken you as much.
He's
had some good meetings.
In fairness to Sam Masters, even when he's in the main body of the team, he's going to score. So
and he's going to be coming against quite a few fast track riders, isn't he?
Well, that's right. As far as I'm aware, the average is changing again next week, and Mikkel Beck will drop into the reserve.
Okay.
So hopefully that'll do him some good as well, because again, somebody else who hasn't really got going yet.
But hand on heart, you're probably doing better at the moment than you would have expected at the beginning of the season. Do you think?
I thought this team would do better than last season's team.
That wouldn't have been difficult.
Admittedly not, but no. I mean, I think. You could argue in a sense that we've been in the right place at the right time. We went to Coventry when they were struggling to get going at the start of the season.
Sometimes that's what's needed. I mean, I think it happened to Birmingham a few times last season. We were in the right place at the right time. You have to ride that luck.
That's right. You? Just a bit frustrating that we haven't had more home meetings. Obviously, only the 2, and we're into the middle of May now. So this track sharing thing with Cradley, it's a bit of a bone of contention with me because I thought a fortnightly Speedo doesn't appeal to me.
Can I quickly say hello to Ian Faultless, who's watching us on Facebook? I haven't forgot about him, but there we go. Thank you.
Who again, sorry?
Ian Faultless. Good evening. Excellent meeting at King's Lynn last night, said Ian.
Yeah, we will definitely come on to that. I am ashamed that I wasn't there. I ummed and ahed, and it was, hey ho, what can I say? Sometimes life gets in the way. Talking about life, we've got a few meetings that we're looking at, and this is where Webby's now going to earn his corn. Because let's find out what's happening in the Ipswich match.
So I go to that tab.
Yeah, you need to refresh, mate. Ipswich versus Rye House, and the score currently is Ipswich 15, Rye House 15. There have been some cracking meetings in the Premier League this year, lots of close meetings, although as we saw against Kent, that doesn't necessarily mean a cracking meeting. Just a few Brummy sort of interests in there. Danny King has scored 2 from one ride. Nico Cavati's won his first and only race so far. Daryl Richards has had 1 point and a 4. And that's So that's all going. Interesting match.
Certainly wasn't close at Glasgow on Sunday, mind you, but...
what was the score there?
Glasgow got 71, I think, so...
Wow.
I think it was 71, so...
Glasgow going to win the league this year, do you think?
They've got to be in with a good chance.
It's a few, isn't there? I mean, Peterborough's don't seem bad, and it's the playoffs thing that's the bone.
I mean, Glasgow have obviously put quite a bit of financial backing as well, in fairness, so... But they're going to be there or thereabouts.
Redcar 18, Plymouth 24. No real Brummy interest in that one. However, Ellis Perks, a 0 and a 0. He's not really started the season off great guns, has he? And Sheffield versus Glasgow Tigers. Well, Sheffield 25, Glasgow 11. So,
Sheffield could be there or thereabouts as well. They've been in the doldrums, haven't they, for a while?
Yeah, Nathan Greaves, of course, riding number 7 for Sheffield. He's scored 1 point from 2 rides. He's not had a very great season, has he? And that's Ben Barker's had an engine failure for Glasgow. That might have contributed a little bit to the scoreline, I think. So, some cracking meetings we're keeping our eye on there.
Good catch, Joe.
I've been watching it.
You are the cameraman. Well done. Okay, so I think we'll have a little chat about Cradley.
Must we?
That'll do. That's it, really.
End of discussion.
Well, no, I mean, they went to Coventry, got pretty much tonked. It's not you called this at the beginning of the season. You said that you didn't think that was a very good side, and there were people tipping them to win the whole shebang. At the moment, I'm not sure that.
No chance. That Cradley team won't win the league. I've said that before.
Well, at the moment, I don't think they've got a lot of chance of even getting into the playoffs, have they?
Well, I think they'll be there. They'll be close to the playoffs, I think, with this current
they're
team.
looking at the 4th place, aren't they, to do it? Because the teams are Birmingham, Kent, and Eastbourne. You would expect are the ones that are going to make the playoffs, and then, Cradley. They might do. I can't think of anybody else that's.
Cradley are probably in the box seat for it, but I don't see that team winning the league. I've said that a couple of times now. So
I think let's put it this way: I think whoever wins the league before we go into the playoffs, they're going to pick Cradley, aren't they? If they get to footy into.
Well, they'll pick him whoever finishes 4th, won't they? So.
Interesting. If Kent are at top, that leaves us with Eastbourne. I'm not happy about that. We need to win this thing.
Well, Cradley in the playoffs would be tremendous.
It would be great. It would be great. It would be a great final. Cradley versus Birmingham would be a brilliant final. But I don't see it happening.
Not at the moment, unless Cradley make changes. So.
Okay, so let's have a look then at what's been going on at Birmingham, and obviously there are 2 matches for us to look at. Hello, Joseph. We haven't heard that for a while. When Joseph does that means there's been somebody asking a question or something on the shout box. And talking of the shout box, if you want to give yourselves to become part of the show, then get on the shout box, or we can participate via...
Yes, we've got a couple of comments that I'll read out.
Okay, that's on the Facebook, and we've also got a Twitter account as well. Would you like to give people...
Twitter account is, we've got one which is UK Speedway Tavern, and we've got the Brummies Forum Twitter as well.
Okay.
That's just Brummies Speedway, that is, at Brummies Speedway.
Okay. So, Joseph, sorry, go on.
Lord Stan says, GA, everywhere you seem to look, there's an ex-Brummy rider.
Everywhere I seem to look, there's an ex-Brummy rider. We've gone through a few, haven't we? That's the nature of Speedway, isn't it? Unfortunately, okay, slightly controversial maybe. My opinion is that Speedway won't sort its ills out until it sorts out this business of continuity. I think it's a big part of what you lose fans, because people get attached to particular riders and then all of a sudden they're riding somewhere else. And one of the reasons we've done so well this year is actually we've retained quite a few riders. Okay, some of those riders only joined us partway through the season last year, but we got attached to Jack Smith, we got attached to JPB, so But I really, you go. I mean, my friend over here, Chris, is he's a Blues supporter.
Yep, for my sins.
Yeah, definitely for your sins. You wouldn't expect to find 70% of your team changed from one season to the next.
I wouldn't know. Although saying that, there seems to be a bit of an exodus for next season. But no, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You want to see continuity every single season. You want.
I think Aston Villa fans
wouldn't bother me to have 70% turnover.
Aston Villa fans will think let's get rid of a lot of them.
Lots of them. But, anyway, that's enough of talking about that sport.
That's football.
Yeah. So that's my big. Sorry, is there any more comments on the chat box?
Yes. Also from Lord Stam, far too early rejudging the playoffs.
Yeah, but we're going to do it anyway because that's part of the game, isn't it? Yeah. I know what you mean though, because this injuries will take their toll and play their part. They always do. You don't wish injury upon any team or any rider, but it's going to happen because it always does.
I remember in 2008, was it?
So let's not talk about 2008. Please, let's not talk about 2008.
Yeah. Prime example.
13 riders injured we had. I think we had our quota for the next 5 years there at least.
You'd like to think so.
Yeah. But injuries do happen. Anyway, let's talk about the Kent match. I think we might have a slight difference of opinion because and I understand what you're saying, Matt. You sort of spoke to me earlier, and that maybe Kent should have won that match. And I think on the night probably they should have.
The bottom line is they adapted to the track better than the Brummies did.
Always the case though, isn't it, that the away side, when your track is totally different to anything it's always the away side that adapts first because they're there to adapt, I suppose.
Yeah, they have to get used to it. So.
Yeah. I mean, not a great match. 45-45. You would have expected it to have been a good match, but it was gate and go.
It was poor. It was poorest match I've seen at Perry Bar this season.
Yes, poorest match I've seen at Perry Bar
probably on a par with the Buxton meeting, wasn't it? Which
for different reasons,
Buxton just weren't very good. That was the bottom line.
Let's just say it as it is. They just weren't very good. It was very gate and go, and we're expecting our riders to be a bit better out the gate this year because they have been good out the gate this year.
I think the warning signs were there probably from Heat 2 because Birmingham's strong point this season has been the reserves.
Absolutely.
And that advantage went last Wednesday.
And Andy Smith, you see, I have to put 10p in the spare jar every time I say Andy Smith instead of Jack Smith. It's just, I do apologise, Jack.
Is my pocket the swear jar by any chance?
You wish.
Have you got 10 pence?
No. So, where was I? Yeah, Jack Smith didn't adapt to the track. Actually, to be fair to Jack, he was unlucky on at least 2 occasions because he was taken out wide. He gated up with, and he's taken right out wide, and you just couldn't ride out there. I don't know whether people were aware, but basically the track was a corridor, and you couldn't ride until about Heat 11 when they sorted the track out in the half time. You really couldn't ride out there, and when you've got grass trackers like Tom Perry saying they can't ride out there, and Zach Vitanek.
I think it was a sort of gentle prod to the Brummies though that by Kent that it's not going to be a steamroller.
Yeah, and I think
which I think we knew anyway because of Kent's start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Kent was a surprise the way they started, but it's not a surprise anymore. They are that good. I think I forgot the name of our announcer now at the Brummies. Nigel Guest, not Nigel.
Ron Guest,
Mr. Guest. I'm sure Stan will put me right in about 10 seconds. He had an article in the Observer which he basically said this could be a good thing for the Brummies, that it's a good lesson for them to learn, sort of thing. And I think actually he's spot on, and perhaps last night at Kings Lynn might have been the proof of which we'll talk about in a moment. So while I agree with you that on the night because of circumstances and whatever, they were probably the better team. I think it was a false result, because I think on a proper Perry Bar track, I don't think the result would have been the same.
I think it would have been close.
I always said it was going to be close. Yeah, they're two good teams. They're two very good teams, and they're two teams built very similarly. With the difference being, I think that their top end is possibly better than our top end, and our bottom end is possibly better than their bottom end.
Joe probably won't understand this, so I'll just say.
Okay.
David Guest is dead. Yeah.
I think I'm probably going to be dead after that as well. I'm sorry, Ryan. Ryan Guest, isn't it? It's come into my head now. Okay, so, but I did leave the meeting feeling a little bit flat, because I actually thought we was going to win it, because in that last heat, from where I was standing, I could see that Tom Perry had made the gate of his life, and he was out in front. Then his engine went. That was going to be a 5-1 or a 4-2. It was going to be what we needed anyway to win the meeting. So
I think, in fairness, the draw probably was the fair result. Although I think if you were Kent, I think you'd have been disappointed not to have come away with the win, really, given the fact that they did lead most of the meeting. So
yeah, that is true. That is true. But perhaps at this point I should start thinking maybe the playoffs are a good thing.
Yeah.
We haven't got to finish top of the league.
Thinking, please.
Okay,
Bad for you.
Always bad for me. So yeah, that was that match, and hopefully, and the other thing that I hope is that we never see the track like that again. I'm not quite sure why it was like that. I don't know. There was a lot of water put on. There was a lot of water needed to be put on, of course, because we'd had
a warm day, wasn't it, last Wednesday?
It was a proper warm day, yeah.
But maybe they overdid it just a bit.
Do you know what? I wouldn't like to second guess that. I'm not sure it's whether it was the water or the. I don't know. I'm not a track man, and it's a bit of an art rather than a science, I think. So sometimes you get things wrong, and that's it. That's it. So, okay, we'll have a chat about the Kings Lynn match. Anybody see that result coming?
I thought the Brummies would win. I thought they'd win comfortably, but I didn't see a 59-31 scoreline. 59-31.
The first thing to say is great to see Zach back on form. Got a maximum. Interesting they didn't put him in Heat 15, but I suppose didn't need to put him in Heat 15.
I think the good thing for Zach so far has been the form of JPB, because I think it's sort of taken a bit of the glare away from him, because
he didn't have a great night at Kings Lynn. He's probably the only one that didn't have a great night, but there were reasons behind that, which we'll come on to in a while. Of course, the big plus for us, and we keep saying this season, is Tom Perry. He's having the
season of his life.
Absolutely. I mean,
not just in the National League either.
Yeah, well, in the Premier League he's doing really, really well. He's making gates. That's the difference. You always said about Tom Perry, he's fast. If he makes gates, he'll score points. But he never made gates, and he was always having to get his points from sometimes a long way behind.
Yeah, that's right. So,
but for whatever reason, this year his bike is really hooking up coming out of the gate. It'd be interesting to ask him why, actually. In fact, Joseph, make a note next time you do an interview with Tom. What's happening with the gates?
Are you making notes?
Yep.
Good, well done.
Now, talking about Zach, I'm trying to work out whether I should say this. We tried to get an interview with Zach after the Kent meeting, and don't get me wrong, he was polite. He wasn't rude or anything, but it was obvious he didn't want to give an interview. It was obvious that he was really, really disappointed with the way things went at Kent, and I do think he is better than that. Than the points he scored against Kent. I was half expecting him to get beaten by their number one and so on, but he didn't have the best of nights, did he?
Maybe he didn't adapt to the track as well as...
Maybe not. He's since said that there were some things with the bike that were wrong that I have identified, but I sort of heard that one before.
Just frustration, I think. I mean, he's only young at the end of the day.
Of course, yeah.
not petulance, but
well, he wasn't. No, I don't want. No, he wasn't petulant at all. He was just down in the dumps.
Yeah,
which is, I guess, reasonable. And it shows that it's important and it matters to him. So that's the positive side of that. But last night,
back on form.
Oh gosh, by a long way. So he had a good night. Tom Perry had another cracking night. I think probably the star rider last night was Daniel Hume. Come out, win his first race in Heat 1. It's always a difficult position, number 2.
It is.
Always been a difficult
in the National
position.
League format. It is. With I don't think it's so much in the Elite League now since the format's changed. But
I can say that.
When that National League format was used in the Elite League, number 2 was a notoriously difficult position to race.
Yeah, it's got to be a graveyard.
Can I go first? Ian said that Jack Smith pulled off a great move in one of his races last night and had a smile on his face all night, as did Daniel Hume. It was also excellent.
It's great to see that he's, because he had such a disappointing meeting against Kent. I don't think he scored a point, did he?
Yeah.
And he did look fast enough, but he just kept getting put out into that
Trying
dirt.
too hard, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. I think, how old is he? 16, isn't he? So we can, I'm waiting. I can't go.
It's my turn now. So, Lord Stan, looks like he's about the only person on the chat box at the moment, was a brilliant result for the Brummies team. Kings Lynn seems to be overrated.
Yeah, because they were rated quite highly at the beginning of the season, weren't they? But they've had a couple of good results at home and so on.
Unfortunately, at the moment, I think there is a bit of a gulf in the National League between the teams like Birmingham, Eastbourne and Kent, and
the standalone teams
the Stokes and the Rye House. I mean, Rye House and Kent really use that, and Bellevue now as well, will use that to sort of help produce riders maybe for their Elite League.
Well, maybe so, but
in the future. But
I understand what you're saying, but if that's what they're doing, shouldn't they be signing young riders like Daniel Hume and Jack Smith and Jack Parker? There's a standard rate of pay and so on in the National
the 2
League.
reserves possibly for Bellevue because they're from that sort of area, aren't they?
Yeah.
So just over the Pennines.
While I sort of understand what you're saying, I still think it's no excuse, or rather, it is an excuse that is easy for them to use. And you know what? I don't care because we can't do anything about it. We are what we are. I'm hoping to be in the Premier League, but perhaps not even next year, because at the moment I think there are too many problems in the Premier League, too many problems in the Elite League, and that for the safety of us having Speedway, probably in the right place at the moment.
Right place at the right time, I think, is a fair argument.
So anyway, back to the Kings Lynn match. I think Jack Smith, I was so happy to see him do so well last night, and he did really well. Because he's had a few, his last 2 Perry Bar meetings actually have not been, for different reasons, have not been great. Kings Lynn were a bit lucky last night. Can you believe that? They were lucky because how good is Jack Parkinson Blackburn, get it the right way around. How good?
You just invented a new Speedway rider.
A new rider, yeah. We should
Almost
sign him.
like a superhero.
Yeah. We should sign him.
Yeah, we should just make the dad over there just wear a mask. And
In general, you should just make me wear a mask.
He's not
to be fair.
one.
No, I mean it may look like it's Halloween, but
Oh dear.
It started.
Just remember, you need lifts off me.
Yeah.
Right.
just remember I've got all the money.
This is true, actually. Okay. Jack Parker. The reason that I believe that Kings Lynn was slightly lucky last night was because Jack Parkinson Blackburn, he came out on his first bike and it didn't work by a good, it was just, and there was a lot of head shaking, and he went into the pits, and they basically had to try and make one bike out of the 2.
Yeah.
Because there was also, and he was, so I think there's definitely something going on bike-wise, and maybe we know he's fast. He should have scored a lot more points on his normal form.
This is true, yeah, but I mean, obviously But
however, just
could afford to carry him. Really,
yeah, well, exactly. Well, that's the way the team's made up, isn't it?
So.
But it does. Every cloud has a silver lining. That bad meeting might just be enough when the new averages come out to leave him at
reserve.
leave him at reserve, which would be brilliant. So, there you go. Every cloud has a silver lining. As I say, Daniel Hume, I think, was the star of the show. I think he's becoming the star of the season, to be honest. Him and Jack Parkinson Blackburn. Tom Bacon. Oh, hello.
Ian said he'll see you at Middlewall Saturday. Is that okay?
He might see me there.
No.
I might not be there. I might be doing a car boot sale, actually, but that's another. That's something else. I'll tell you what, I'm doing a car boot sale later, if you like. If you're that interested.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
But I mean, you couldn't pick a weak link, actually, with the possible exception of JPB. But we understand why that happened. So I say again, wow. I'm wondering whether we'll ever see another team as good as this riding for Birmingham, because it's a bit special, don't you think?
At the moment, yeah, it's certainly looking. I mean, what's the biggest school? Is that the biggest school Birmingham we've got? 59.
From home, I believe it. I think I read something.
I'm trying to remember what it was against Buxton. I'm talking about this season, not the.
What you mean this season away from home? That's
away and home.
I think it probably was the
away and at home.
Not at home, because the Buxton
we
got 65.
Could Birmingham get 70 this season?
I think if the wind's in the right direction, yeah. But it's all about those circumstances, isn't it? And not getting engine failures and falls, and to get 70, you've got to have a perfect match, haven't you? Really. But the big question, of course, is can we beat Kent? Because we're against Kent now in about 3-4 weeks, something like that, in the National Trophy.
Well, there's
final.
There's a psychological advantage as well that Kent are going to have now, knowing that they've been to Birmingham and they've come away and got a point in the league.
So we need to go there and beat them, of course. That's
easier said than done.
Hello.
Lord Stan again. Question to GI. If the Brummies move back to the Premier League in 2017, how many team assets will the promotion own?
Ooh.
Or have a chance of signing as assets?
Well, that is the big question, and it's that very question that could force us up into the Premier League.
Yeah.
Because my understanding is, as things stand at the moment, National League teams are not allowed to sign assets unless they sign them as an asset of their Premier League side, if they've got, or their Elite League side, if they've got one. So, which gives an advantage to Rye House, Bellevue, King's Lynn, on those terms.
Coventry as well. I mean, Coventry obviously there's still.
I don't agree with it, and I'll tell you why I don't agree with it. I mean, obviously we want to keep our riders, but let's look at a place like Buxton, just managing to survive. They're never ever going to go up to the Premier League. They wouldn't be able to. They haven't got the resources. They haven't got the fan base. They just haven't got it. They're surviving because they can, or they have survived in the past because they were able to have riders as assets and sell them on. They can't do that anymore.
Yeah, it is a worry, which maybe explains the weak Buxton team this year to an extent.
Yeah, I think it could well do. So, I think that's unfair. I think it's a way of. It's another nail in the coffin of certain clubs that are going to find it difficult to survive.
One of many things I think the best player needs to look at in the winter.
My I do have some information about stuff that's going on as far as that's concerned. I can't share it, unfortunately, other than to say that stuff is happening. That certain promoters are not happy and things are being done to perhaps put that right. But for obvious reasons, I can't say anything. The most obvious being is I don't actually know whether the information that's being given, how accurate it is. So that's always a problem with these things. But yeah, Stan, you've sort of hit one of the nails on the head, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what we can't do anything about it as fans, but it's not right, is it?
No, I don't think it is, to be honest. It puts clubs at a disadvantage in that league. I think as far as Premier League is concerned, you may well see a few more teams. There may well be some changes in the Premier League lineup for next season. I know there's obviously been talk about Glasgow possibly moving up at some point. Obviously, if Coventry don't come to the tapes next year, then they're going to need another
team up there, aren't they?
Whether they would want.
It won't be Birmingham, I can tell you.
It won't be Birmingham. That won't be Birmingham. Glasgow will probably look the most liable one in terms of finances, but I'm not so sure whether the other elite league clubs would want a club that far away from them coming into the league. Leicester as well, obviously with the changes now. Dave Hemsley's obviously resigned as the promoter, although obviously still there, but just not a member of the BSBA anymore. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any change in winter.
Joseph,
Lord Stan again. GA. So the answer at the moment is none. I think he's referring to.
Yeah, I think that is the answer. There is such a thing as rider loyalty. I mean, Tom Perry's an asset of Cradley. Well, he's not. He'll be an asset of Wolverhampton now because that's how they'll keep their assets because they can do that. But you can guarantee that if I would imagine if we moved into the Premier League, for instance, Tom Perry would probably want to move with us. He loves the track. He's stated that he loves riding there.
Ian said he's happy to stay where he is regards National League.
I think a lot of Birmingham fans.
I think a lot of Birmingham fans are because it's quite nice being a big fish in a little pool.
Well, that's right. So,
but my own personal opinion, of course, only a personal opinion, is that when the time's right, I want to move up.
Yeah.
Because I don't see the point in being part of a sport if you don't want to be the best. That's the whole point. Right. And even as far as moving up to the Elite League, I would quite happily do it when the time is right. I wouldn't do it now or anywhere near now.
No.
But you have to be hopeful and hope that they will sort it out. Eventually they've got to, otherwise they'll die. It's as simple as that. We need to talk about the Grand Prix as well. We mustn't forget, of course, because there's been a Grand Prix as well. Hello.
I did ding the bell. I don't know if you heard that earlier on, but Lord Stan again says, GI, so Speedway is a joke sport, really, isn't it? Bit controversial.
It's perceived as being a joke sometimes.
That's that is the word. That perception is.
I think forgotten sport is the best phrase.
Well, it is a forgotten sport because newspapers don't. Although no, I can't say that because the way that it's been reported in the Birmingham Mail, for instance, has been the Birmingham Speedway has been absolutely brilliant. 2 or 3 articles at least a week. That's not bad going, is it? And that's pretty decent articles as well. So, is it a joke sport? There are things about it that people, as you said, perceive as being. But let's look on the credit side of things. One of the big things that people have always said, I'm not one of the people that have said this, by the way, is that this tactical rule is a joke. It's not. Well, we haven't got that at all in the National League this year. I'll be totally honest with you, I miss it. We could have done with it against Buxton for a starter. I don't like the double points. I think if there's double.
I like double points when the rider who's on the double points starts 15 metres back.
Possibly.
Which was when the rule was first introduced years ago. That's what they did.
Right, possibly.
Because I think if you start 15 metres back and still win the race, I think you deserve extra points.
Well, yeah, I think you could be right on that one. I think that any sport needs a tactical element. There needs to be a tactical element in any sport because that's one of the things that, as a fan, you talk about.
Give the team only something to do. So just
well, of course, there is that as well. I mean, what are they doing now? I'm not sure. Win this race, son. That's pretty much it, isn't it? That's what Grand Jury says, but he doesn't use as many syllables. So I think there needs to be a tactical element. I always go back to, I don't know whether you were around when we had the old tactical substitute rule, where if you got 6 points behind, you could put any rider in to replace. So the thing I used to like
He's
about
a lot
that,
older than you think.
fair enough.
I know, yeah.
I thought he was 83. So anyway,
feel 83 sometimes.
As a supporter, you'd be on the terraces and you'd have these conversations going on. Why hasn't he put such and such in this race as a tactical sub? Or why has he put him there when you could do a double tactical sub with him there and we can get a definite
I didn't see
fight
what
with
was wrong with it.
all of that sort of thing. I think what was wrong with it is it was taking rides off reserves that weren't getting paid as much and giving them to top riders that are getting paid more, and it was costing the promoters money. I think that might well be.
I think for the opposition as well. I think for the opposition as well. I mean, when a team went 8 points behind, by and large, which heat were they normally thrown into? Heat 8, because when you had the number 2 and the number 7,
of course.
So that was always the.
Can I just throw one in, and then I think Joe's got a couple to throw in.
Okay.
Ian says you should have seen Tom working, helping in the pits with all the riders last night. I didn't realise how much you did before, and you say a big fish in a little pool. But aren't there 13 teams in the National League?
He has a good point.
Good point. Excellent.
Although
point.
there is, as you were saying earlier, a case to be said that maybe the National League is 2 leagues at the moment. I mean, you look at the tonking we gave Kings Lynn last night. I wasn't expecting that, to be fair. I don't think Graham Drury was, by the notes that he made in the Evening Mail and, on the site. But wow, again, I say. So what we was talking about, the tactical rule, wasn't we?
Yeah.
And you see, I think. So we was talking about it being a joke sport. So and that was one of the rules that I was always. Can I just finish my point, Joseph? Okay. One of the things that was always said was this tactical substitute or the tactical replacement, whatever it was. The double points or the old rule. Made Speedway a joke because the perceived reason for that rule has always been, the promoters have even said this, which beggars belief to me, it's to make matches closer. But that's artificial.
Yeah.
Making things artificially closer. And I've always said, and I will say this till the day I die, which might be tomorrow, the way Joseph's looking at me, that rule, or whatever rule it is, should only be available to the away side. You shouldn't be able to have that facility as the home side. Only the away side should have that. And the reason for that is that the reason for it being should be to combat home track advantage. Immediately, it's not a joke rule, is it? Do you see where I'm coming from? It's not just to artificially make it. It's to say, yeah, we understand that in Speedway, home track advantage is a thing. And it is a thing, you can't deny that. Even we have home track advantage, not as great as other places like Eastbourne or whatever,
Yeah.
So if that rule is there to combat home track advantage, it has a function, it has a reason, there's a reason it's there. And not just to make things artificially closer. What do you think?
Possibly, yeah. You're never obviously going to get something like that in. But it is. I can understand why they want to try and make matches close, but again, it's falling for the old story of close matches doesn't necessarily make.
Yeah,
if you want we saw that against the Birmingham.
If you want to make matches close, then make sure everybody's got even teams. That's that's I guess the story for that. But I still think home track advantage is something that should be sorted out.
Yeah. I still think rider grading would benefit for making teams more evenly.
I've never experienced that.
Once, and it went in the, what year was it? 2004, I think.
Right.
Yeah, 2004. And it was one of the best elite league campaigns I can remember. But because one or two teams didn't like it, instead of tweeting it, they just chucked it out. The average system is always going to be up to.
We need to catch up.
Okay, let's go for it, guys.
Okay, so first of all, there is actually someone else on the chat box once.
Okay, it's not Webby, is it?
It is. No,
it's a relation.
ELO. He says, change is good in every way of life. Are there people who perceive that golf is a joke sport? Yes.
Yeah.
Are there people who think that synchronized swimming is a joke?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It's all about what you wish to follow and support. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I think
That's true.
I think the thing is that your hardcore supporters, and probably the same in any other sport, overthink it. At the end of the day, Speedway's about 4 blokes going hell for leather for 4 laps around a track. That's it.
We know, bro.
And when it's good, there's just nothing better. You get. Let's compare Speedway then to another sport, a sport that's not really considered a joke. Possibly a sport that has got all the television coverage that you could ever wish for. That has got the highest profile you could ever wish for. Formula One.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the more exciting sport? Speedway, for me, Speedway wins hands down. It has more passes. It has more races per event. It has the mecca of all motorsport, which is the outside pass, because nothing draws your breath away more than somebody going around the outside of somebody else and just blatting past them.
Yeah, I also think in Formula One, it's not a sort of event that you watch from
start to
finish, is it?
Not with your eyes
you
open.
sort of drift in and drift out. And
yeah, not with your eyes open.
Go and have a kick.
What's the biggest thing in Formula One? What's the thing in Formula One? I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love Formula One. I actually, but although maybe not as much as I used to. The biggest thing that changes outcomes in matches in Formula One
Pit stops.
is pit stops.
Yeah.
That's why they introduced them.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's not artificially manipulating the result and so on. I don't know what else is. I mean, they've even spoke about, I don't know whether it was tongue in cheek, but having sprinklers on the track so they can artificially make it a rain match halfway through a race and things like that.
It's just gimmicks, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So we're not the only sport with that sort of problem. And if you think
people always talk about how the Monaco Grand Prix is so unique. You never see any passing in it.
No,
it's impossible to pass it.
You might see crashing if they try to pass, but
yeah,
it's
don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic setting, but
it'd be great to play. I would imagine it'd be a great thing to be at. I'm not sure how much you'd watch the racing you'd watch, but
drag out the casino.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so yeah. Any more, Joseph?
Yeah, quite a few by Lord Stan here. First is, as a Brummie fan staying in the National League, supporters can never make full appreciation to riders who are owned by Lakeside, Ipswich, Cradley, Posture.
I don't think anybody can disagree with
No,
that.
not at all.
The asset system is something that needs to be sorted out. It's what gives Poole its edge. It's not the only thing that gives Poole its edge, to be fair. It's a well-run club, and riders want to ride there. But the asset system feels unfair at the moment, the way it is. And I think that there was a proposal whereby we limit how many assets a team can have.
Yeah.
And I'd
like to see that.
I think that's a good idea. I think it's a good idea for the riders.
I think the thing is, as well, is there's you get clubs that have got assets. They're never going to use them again.
Well, yeah.
But the problem is, of course, nobody wants to buy them. So
yeah, but you can use them if there's a gap that you need to. You get first call on their services.
I never thought Paul would use Bjarne Benson again, to be honest.
It might sort of come back and bite them. Have we got, talking about different teams, have we got some results on the go?
I'll just refresh that one. But
Ipswich versus Rye House. The score is currently 37 to Ipswich and 29 to Rye House. Nico Cavatu's having a good match, but I'll never see that again. Redcar 30, Plymouth 30.
There's an update on that one.
That's 33-33. Wow.
I'll just refresh that one as well.
Nathan Greaves has had 1 point from 3 rides.
And Battle of the Tigers.
Sheffield 43, Glasgow 25. That's a
some
very good result for Sheffield.
Sheffield looking good bet, I think, to be up there, to be honest.
I quite like Sheffield. They're a great track as well.
We've still got another one from Lord Stan here. You're probably going to disagree with this one here, but it says, so GA agrees it's a joke sport.
I don't think I said that, did I? Did I say it was a joke?
So many words.
Yeah,
I think there are aspects. I think what I said is there are aspects of Speedway that can be perceived as being a joke, and perception is everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think particularly we need to sort out this business of who's actually in control of Speedway, and that needs to have a supremo, a Bernie Eccleston, or maybe a panel, even whichever way they do it.
Yeah.
But that's not running a club. Somebody that's not part of a club.
I'm sure I remember a few years ago, Barry Hearn made a comment about Speedway, saying that if he was going to take charge of Speedway, he'd want to own all of the tracks and run every single one of them,
right?
And then you wouldn't have any sort of self-interest.
So I think
then we would get to the Bernie Eccleston sort of scenario.
Well, it needs something like that,
and I think that wouldn't be a bad thing.
Let me just put it this way: I think Speedway is the most fantastic sport in the world. I love it. I wouldn't travel halfway around the country and coming back at 2 o'clock in the morning thinking we lost, and then do it again. But I do. It's a fantastic sport. It's given me some fantastic jumping up and down moments. You know what I mean. And I see things sometimes, even in the National League, that just take your breath away. That you just, did I actually see that? And it happens time and time again. And I can't think of any other sport that provides that. You may, I don't know, Chris, you might say that football does that, but I think it's
happened quite a lot.
Different thing
in football. Yeah.
Joseph.
Maybe you'll understand this better than me, but Lord Stan says GA splinters.
No.
Sitting on the fence?
Yeah, that may be. No, I'm not sitting on the fence. I am saying it is not a joke sport. I think there are things about it that could be done better and should be done better. But I love the sport. Always have, always will. What these kids do for our entertainment, I understand it's not just for our entertainment. They love doing what they're doing, as they wouldn't do it. And but even so, some of the things that they do, things like Emiliano Sanchez at Newport, when we'd already won the match, going for a ridiculous outside pass and ending up in the fence and rupturing his spleen. It's just, you don't see that anywhere else. So anyway, there you go. There we go. Any more questions? I'm on a roll now. This is cool.
We've got an update. Ipswich 40, Rye House 32.
Nico's had a good night, 3, 3 and 2.
And this one is just reloaded.
I would like to have told you what Darryl was doing, but Chris is so quick on the button tonight.
Sorry, yeah.
Now, what were we talking about before the questions again?
Redcar 36, Plymouth 36. We have got 8 minutes or so in which to talk about the Grand Prix. I have to confess, I didn't see
to Rosslov.
Yeah, so was it a good return for us? The track was okay, and
well, I'll tell you on Saturday because the first one was Slovenia.
Oh, okay, sorry, yes, so, of course, I will get there eventually.
Decent racing, to be fair, in Slovenia. It was some good racing. No, I don't think it's necessarily a big surprise to say that Peter Kilderman won the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's got a pretty good record in the GPs he's ridden in.
Yes.
I think he's ridden in 6 GPs and got to about 5
Future
finals.
GP champion, do you think?
Very possibly, could be a good outside bet for this season.
Yeah. Well, he's winning at the moment.
Yeah,
so.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. So, obviously, Ty Woofington sort of muddled his way through into the final. He didn't have a brilliant night.
Good result for him then, in a way.
Well, that's right. I mean, as far as I'm aware, he'd only had one meeting going into that GP, so maybe caught cold a little bit, but. Of course, he'll have had a few more laps now before Saturday at in Warsaw.
As to the new riders,
Pavliczky started off quite well. Had a good run in his first ride, but maybe just a little bit of nerves. He was probably the pick of the bunch. Big disappointment, I think, was probably Matty Zagar on his home GP, only scoring 4. Yeah. Really struggled.
I bet it was disappointing for him. Yeah, I mean, you can't really take anything from the first GP.
No, you can never.
Was it last year or the year before? I can't remember now. I think it was the year before, wasn't it, when the winner was Smolinski. So, he lost his button then, didn't he?
That's right.
So but probably from Ty's perspective, he's thinking, yeah, I'm happy with that. That's, he could even possibly go through a whole season not winning a Grand Prix and still win the thing. Yeah.
It's only been done once, of course. I mean, people often talk about that, but it's only been done by Mark Laram so far.
Yeah, but it's
possible.
The rules have made it a little bit more possible to do the way they've changed, than we're not having the double points in the final.
I think, in fairness, when Mark Laram did it, there were only 6 rounds. Now there's more. I think you probably would be a bit more difficult. I think you do need to win at least a couple of them.
Okay.
So, now.
Chris Harris?
Bomber looked all right, actually. He's
had a good start to the season.
He's had a good start to the season, but again, he did well start. We've got 3 points in his first 3 rides, then only picked up another point afterwards. In fairness now, let's be honest, Chris Harris is never going to be world champion. I think that boat's sailed now as far as he's concerned.
It's a shame because he started off on such a high end, such a stormer, and winning that
9 years ago. That is now.
Is it really?
9 years ago. That was
2007.
You could possibly argue maybe people have said that he's dined out on that a little bit since then, but
maybe it was a bad thing for him.
Yeah, you got to give him credit though. I mean, he still comes back for more. He still qualifies every year, a bit like Andy Smith used to. So
yeah.
So you've got to give him credit for that.
Joseph's just shown me something, and is he actually expecting me to read it from this distance without my glasses? Would you like to share it?
I was wondering whether we were still planning on putting the interview that's up on YouTube on.
Oh, forgot all about that. There isn't. We'll point people to it. There's an interview with Graham Drury on YouTube.
We haven't really got time.
After the Kent match, have we got time for it?
It's 1 minute 46.
Go on and put it on. So this was Graham's reaction after the match, and this is audio. But if you want to go onto the YouTube, you can actually see.
Yeah, as you say, it's going to be a tough match. I think both teams deserve to get something out of the match, which they did do, and I thought it was an excellent advert for National League Racing.
And both teams today came out with still holding their undefeated title for this season. I'm expecting you were hoping for a slightly different result there.
Yeah, every match that we go into we're expecting to win, but Kent were coming here expecting to win as well. So as I said previously, both teams deserve to get something out of the match, and both of us did.
And going through the match, we were tied for most of it. Was there any point that you were worried that we might start falling behind?
Well, yeah, but it's my job to gee the riders up and make sure that isn't the case. It was disappointing that in Heat 15, where we thought everything was sorted, Tom had gate 4, that was the gate he wanted, but a little wire broke to cost maybe 50p to repair. But no excuses from our side or their side. As you say, I think a result was a fair result.
And you said there about everyone seemed pretty happy going into Heat 15. After that result, how's team morale?
Team morale's fine. We got a good team. We've got an excellent team. And as you say, we're 8 matches now into the season, and we're still undefeated. So.
3-1.
Okay, so there is still a little bit more on that interview. If you want to go on to our YouTube page, which is...
Oh, you're not going to tell me now, are you? I don't know.
Okay, we'll put it on the shout box in a minute.
Yeah, I'll put it up in the video.
And you can actually watch that on video. Okay, so we have a question.
Yeah. Lord Stan says, just a quick question. I'm going to purchase a new deep fat fryer. What cooking oil would the team recommend?
Some Arthur Browning.
Not petrol, no.
Not petrol. Wow. Any answers on... Anybody got an answer for that one? Something vegetable. There you go.
Yeah, something vegetable.
Yeah. Okay. So have you got the... Actually, if you go to YouTube and just type in Speedway Tavern, you'll get to it. You'll find it. So that's the easiest thing to do on that one.
I'm sure we put this on Facebook anyway while we're here.
Okay, so we have another Grand Prix this weekend, yeah?
Yep.
The previously mentioned, I can't pronounce
Warsaw.
Warsaw. Okay, I can't remember. I can recognise that one. Kilderman again?
Difficult to say because it was such a disaster last time we went to Warsaw, wasn't it? And,
yes.
Chris Holder I'll go for to win it.
Chris Holder.
Put
We
me
never
up
mentioned him in the other. He had a reasonable...
Third in the first one. Hasn't done so well in his league meetings.
No.
But he's started like in the GPs.
Okay. Chris Holder, okay. Do you know what? You could be right. I haven't said all that. I think that he's concentrating very much on those GPs, isn't he? Okay, and our next meeting is at Mildenhall on Sunday. Yes, Joseph?
Lord Stan just put in the shout box. That was a really crap answer, guys.
I agree.
Oh, mind.
You get what you get.
Yeah. Perhaps, I think, Stan, you're listening to the wrong programme. I don't know, but please don't stop listening, for goodness sake. Yeah, actually, that's what I wanted to say. I want to sort of big us up a little bit. We're trying to do something different and something special here, which hence us getting on Facebook. Many of you will know that we were dabbling with Big Centre TV. That didn't work, mainly because the format they wanted us to do didn't really fit what we do.
Really.
So we wanted to continue with this format of people being able to communicate with us via the shout box and so on, and this obviously enables us to do that.
But I think we like the live format.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
it's unpredictable,
Yeah.
and it's live.
So that's what. But in order for us to keep
Capture all
this,
your mistakes too.
Exactly.
in order for us to keep this going, it would be nice if there were more people listening. We're doing well enough.
Yeah, we do know.
But we'd like a few more, please. So tell your mates, tell your friends. If you're
Kidnap
down
them
there.
and force them to
Yeah.
listen.
Don't go that far.
And
That's
also-
partly why we're doing it on Facebook now, because it becomes much more accessible for people.
And also, by the way, we're not doing it for any monetary gains.
Although if anybody wants
Be
to
nice
make us an offer,
we do all this off our own back.
yeah, if anybody wants to make us an offer, that would be great. But we all love Speedway, and that's what it's all about. And we have a bit of fun. I hope you do it too. Let your mates know, and we'll see you next week after Mildenhall and Eastbourne. Another big match.
And Leicester for Wolves as well on Monday. So
Okay, you should win that.
need to have to lose in commentary.
Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Good night.
See ya.
Right.